Hello everybody, I'm Andy Lagopus.
And I'm Pixar.
And welcome back to another episode of It's Called a Podcast, Sweetheart, where we talk all of Zootopia as much of the time as possible.
Right now we are almost 6-7 months away from Zootopia 2. Isn't that amazing?
I can't believe it. Time has flown so fast.
But still no trailer. So sad.
Still no trailer as of time of recording. Hopefully, by the time this goes live on YouTube, we will have a trailer. But as of right now, we still don't.
we only had tidbits of new information, but no trailer yet.
Mm-hmm.
We really are suffering.
I mean, to be fair, we did go through the better part of a decade with no even knowledge that there would be a sequel, so...
Well, yes,
Can't
that's
be worse
better
than
than
that.
nothing. Yeah. Well, we have current news. What are the news?
Yes, so we have gotten confirmation about Gary's full name. Yeah, Gary the Snake has a last name. It is Gary the Snake.
Just like that.
Just like that, apparently.
Which makes me wonder, how is that going to be adapted to other languages? Because we know that's for English, that it's its original language, but how it's going to be adapted to other...
Yeah, that's a good question, because Zootopia did a lot of that for the original, so
yeah,
maybe it'll be Disnake or Disinak or something like that.
That would be curious, because, for instance, talking about me, that I had first the Latin American dub in Spanish. Some last names were adapted to more Spanish variations of those same last names in English, but they didn't with Judy and Nick, for instance. They didn't. They stayed the same. But with other characters, they did adapt it, like Clawhauser, they adapted his last name. Who else? Mr. Otterton. Characters like that. Yeah, they had to adapt. Oh yeah, also Mayor Lionheart too. Yes, they had to adapt their
What
last
they turn
names.
them into?
With Lionheart, I think it was Leonzales. That Leon, it's lion. Clawhauser, Garraza, because Garra, it's claw. And Otterton, Nutriales, because otter, nutria. So yes. Those kind of variations. So that makes me wonder how they're going to adapt Gary's last name to Spanish. That will be curious. Also because we have two Spanish dubs. The one from European, that's from Spain, and the Latin American one that's recorded for in Mexico. So we don't know what they're going to do there.
Good question. What is snake in Spanish, anyway?
Serpiente. It's a pretty long.
Okay.
It's a pretty long name for in Spanish because it has 3-4 syllables, and snake only has one. So I don't know what they're gonna do there.
Gary Serpiente. It's got a ring.
Kind of. Let's see if they adapt it such as like that, or they're gonna do something different. We just have to wait and see.
Yes, we will. As for other news, Zootopia 2 is going to be shown off a bit at the Annecy Film Festival in France.
Oh yeah, I did knew about that. Yes, hopefully by the time the Annecy it's already out, as in going on, we have more news about the movie. We need them.
Yeah, so they'll be unveiling a sneak peek of it on Friday, June 13th at Banlieue Nationale, and please pardon my French, I am so rusty. It has been so long since I've taken French. It'll be Jared Bush along with Pete Docter of Pixar, Ron Clements, and the creator of The Simpsons, Matt Groening. So a bunch of animation legends as well as their teams hosting panels, Q&As, appearances, such like that. It'll be really cool. So yeah, looking forward to that. And hopefully we have some more news by then.
Yes, we'll have to wait 1 more month and have like 6 weeks or so we can get more news.
And I believe that's it for the news. Before we get into our interview today, remember, everything is brought to you by the lovely people at the ZNN Patreon, patreon.com/ZNN, where We are still trying to figure out what sort of goals and things we can give you, but we are also on Spotify now, so if you want to support us, either donate to the Patreon or watch it on Spotify to the point where it can be monetized. So, woo!
Thank you so much for all the comments and support we receive you through all this time for the project.
Exactly. And I think we've taken enough. So now let's get into our guest. We have someone very special today. He is not just the writer of the Zootopia comics, but he has a enormous bibliography. Like, so big that Wikipedia doesn't even cover it all. Well, he is the creator of X-Men First Class. He's worked on Marvel and DC and pretty much every comics house under the sun, as far as I can tell. Please welcome Jeff Parker.
Hello. Thank you for having me on the news network. This is great.
Yeah, thank you for coming. It's a pleasure.
Okay, I blurted this out backstage because I said it in the wrong. I forgot serpiere when I said this when you were talking about what's snake and serpent, and I was thinking of the Italian artist Paolo Serpiere, who did Druna years ago.
Oh,
And I was like, that would be a really cool last name for Gary.
That would be.
Anyway, like, since you guys are so on top of all the news, way more than me, I was so excited when you said, oh, yeah, there's going to be reptiles in Zootopia too. Because I've actually been kind of keeping my head away and avoiding any news because I don't want to. I've been lucky in not getting too many notes from Disney. And I didn't want to accidentally do anything that they might be doing, So I haven't really sought out any spoilers or anything like that. I do have friends at Disney who probably could tell me, but I haven't asked them. I've been really cool about it, I feel. And but that's exciting. And of course, I have thought several times, man, I'd really love to have a gator character right here or something like that. But I was playing by the rules of the first movie for this first arc.
Yeah, well, that actually leads right into some of the questions we had for you.
Yes.
Oh, please, bring them on.
All right, so for those of our audience who are not very familiar with how the comics industry works, you are the writer of the comics, but what does that exactly involve? I know it's a pretty basic question, I'm sure you get a lot, but just as a base level reference.
Well, now I don't know how the initial connections with all the Disney books that Dynamite is working came together, but the editor I work with a lot did approach me and say, because we had actually talked, he and I had rattled on about Zootopia in the past before because we were both fans. And he's like, you like Zootopia, right, Parker? And I was like, yeah, it's like the best thing Disney's put out in this century.
Agreed.
It's like I think it's terrific and blah blah blah. And he's like, what if I said we were going to finally do a Zootopia comic? And I was like, yeah, that's the one I want to do. And I jumped on that. And then it was a process of writing up pitches for stories and running it by, I don't even know who we talked to at Disney. Editor Nate does. But then, he showed some of the initial pitches, and what was agreed upon was that they wanted it to be treated like a procedural. Like, it's like, let's just follow Nick and Judy in their job, now that he's a cop and she's a more seasoned pro and everything, and build a story out of that. And they asked, like, can we have them be standalone issues that are still all part of the same story? And I said, yes, we can do that. That would be not too hard. It is a little difficult, but it's not too bad. So anyway, I started putting together this whole idea that begins with, you saw issue 1 where the blimp blows up at the airport, because they can't just simply go to anything that it doesn't turn into a big case. Um, and and they went with it. Usually I'm used to people really putting me through the ringer on licensed characters like this, especially when it's connected. It's ostensibly connected to a big movie coming up, and there hasn't been a lot of other material. So they're worried, like, oh, do these people get it? And it's like, yeah, I've watched this movie 100 times. I really know. it's, it's this is not something I'm going to bumble through. Like, trust me. But that's their job. And but actually, like I said, they've been pretty cool. And then Nate got Alessandro after he had been working on the Hades comic
Yes.
for them. It was really good, and
Yeah, we talked
because
with him about that a little
Alessandro
bit.
is really good, and
Yeah.
and of course, yeah, and he has a lot of characters to draw in Zootopia, and he gets the personalities just perfect. I'm always particularly fond of the way he draws Bogo.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but the main job, I think, description there is you've really got to make everybody believe. They got to hear Bateman's voice coming out of Nick. They've got to believe that's Judy. They've got to be very convincing, and to me, they are. When I look at the art, I hear the voices, it works. So
That's
yeah,
great.
we got up and running pretty fast. Now, sometimes we can get slowed down by they have so much stuff to do on their end that they may take a long time to approve things, and I don't know what that does to the shipping schedule because I don't pay attention to such things. But
well, we're still waiting on issue 3, so
yeah, see, so just let you know that's not me or Alessandro.
no, we didn't think it was.
And they're probably more concerned with collecting it as a trade, but so right now, like, I have handed in. I'm waiting to see art on number 6 and everything, and I don't know. I'm really happy with the story and how it's going and the whole tone of it. And again, I just can't believe they haven't yelled at me.
Yeah, that was one thing we were going to ask about, because according to Alessandro, Disney was a bit more of...
They're very careful. They're very careful with
Yeah.
their IPs.
They are, and he gets more notes than me, and that's kind of not fair. But the truth is that they really read it once it's done, and I think that's everybody I've ever worked with. So of course they're going to say, like, even though to me he gets everybody. It's a tricky walk because they want things on model,
but also stylized.
Yeah, this is very 2D comics art, and he's got to put life into it that works in that medium. You can't do the same things. If you just did screenshots of the movie, it just wouldn't work as well.
Yeah, we got a comic like that once. It wasn't very good.
It's the kind of thing people think would work well. It's like a Fumetti or something, but it just doesn't have the energy. Whereas Alessandro drawing in his style, which is, pushing closer to the house style, but still is his own 2D style, feels more right than if you did do screen caps and just put them on there with word balloons. So I'm glad we don't do that. Long story short, it takes a lot of back and forth, and that's why the books don't come out as fast as they should. I am hoping, though, that they will let us just charge on in and do another big story arc before the movie comes out, because I'm having a great time working on the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to ask, our time zones are also a setback because, well, we know that Alessandro is all the way in Italy, so how does that work?
Yeah, fortunately, our time. Yeah, our time. I prefer when I'm more in sync with my collaborators and everything, but which means I should go over to Italy and just hang out with Alessandro until this is done. Then that would be.
That sounds like a pretty nice trip.
What city is he in? Did he say?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't.
I asked somebody. I could ask Alessandro. It's just he's always asleep when I'm awake.
Mhm.
Well, it's 8 hours off. It's not that bad, 8 or 9. But yeah, it would be simpler, and I'd be more available. I always tell artists, like, if something I wrote isn't clear, please just ask me, or if you have a better idea, we can usually change it. You know, I'm not inflexible at all. I try to bend with whatever people want to do. Unless it's
Yeah.
like it's a joke I'm really trying to get across, and it's like, please, I just want to get this one joke.
Yeah, and I mean, you've worked with all sorts of artists over the years. So, how is it working with Alessandro?
Oh, again, I wish I got to talk to him more. We've only just emailed a little bit. But my God, he's great. I mean, you see what he does. It's just,
Yeah, he has posted a lot on Instagram and Twitter, and he does amazing.
yeah. So I think people are enjoying. I actually haven't read a bunch of reviews, but what I've seen seemed pretty positive. So I hope it's going over well.
Well, it's getting 5 out of 5 stars from us every time.
Oh, well, I'll take that. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like our role with this is to kind of catch people up, like make them think, because our story could pick up almost, a day later from when you last see them pull Flash over in the Lamborghini. Like, it's just them out doing their job and then finding out more stuff. It's funny because the way it's going, it seems to me pretty clear, and I'm not guessing, I'm not trying to speculate or ruin anything, that Nick and Judy would end up being more plainclothes detectives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do get that vibe. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think
well-
that's just me. Like, I think a lot of people kind of assume that because Judy's out there from the minute you see her in the movie. She's doing a lot more detective work than is required of a beat cop,
And funny you mentioned that. How much of what we know about Zootopia 2 do you mind hearing about?
I at this point, since I have written my first arc, I'm fine with hearing anything because it won't influence what I've already handed them in.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Because funny you say plainclothes detectives. That's exactly what they are apparently in the sequel.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
It's it just seemed perfect, but I was supposed to do cops. Yeah, no way they're going to let the comics beat them to that progression. It makes perfect sense. Of course, that's the way it had to go.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, speaking about that progression, there's still that debate if the comics are considered connected or canon to the movie or the sequel in any sense, because there's a timeline with some events from the sequel, so we are wondering where do the adventures from the comics end up then? If they are after the sequel, before the sequel, that's still kind of a mystery.
Well, no, it's got to be then the way you're describing it. It's got to be before the sequel, exactly where it comes out in real life. So again, we picked up right from there, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, like, it's a shame though because I like Judy's version of the cop outfit with the little vest and everything. That's pretty cool.
Well, her new look is pretty nice too.
Oh yeah, they get upgraded with new looks.
Okay, good. Man, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, because since you said we can tell a bit more, well, the whole summary is that they are going undercover to solve the mystery of a snake that's on the loose in the city. They're trying to find out about more of his identity and everything.
Yeah, we don't know much else other than there's a scene with Nick and Judy in not quite, well, in like department mandated therapy that we saw like teasers of at CinemaCon just earlier, like this month or
Yes.
last month. Just
Yeah,
a few
early
weeks ago.
April, yes.
So apparently that scene takes place a week after the end of the first movie. So who knows how it'll all end up fitting together.
Wow, the mine's really crammed in there.
Well, I mean, they've also said that it'd take place roughly a year after the first one, so it could just be that that scene is sort of a setup and then there's a time skip. So comics could fit in the time skip if there is one. We don't know.
As long as Bogo's still in charge, that's all I need.
Oh yeah, Bogo's
Yes.
still Bogo. Gotta have more Idris Elba.
Yeah, no, he's so good at it. Like, he probably. I hope he wants to do more animation because his voice is perfect. Well, this is cool. This must have been so painful for you, just like having to try to sneak out information over a few years here. Because I was the same way. I was like, I don't understand why they didn't follow this up. This is such a good movie.
Yeah, we were going to ask if you knew anything about, like, why now they're doing a comic rather than, like, any time in the past 9 years before now.
Yeah, you would have think, why not keep it going in some form? Who knows? Because a lot of things seem to get put on hold, and then suddenly it's like we've jumped back in time, and this is really, 2019, and we're doing or something. It's
If only. If only.
Yes.
It is strange, but I'm glad that they're revisiting. I don't like when people just let something. I do like things that are one and done and they're their own standing work. But this is one of the things that really lent itself to a serial.
It really did. And that's one of the beautiful things about comics. You can have that continuation.
Yeah, as long as you can keep up the quality. And I'm sure they're afraid, like, oh, we let other people do books and stuff. This, they could just totally miss the point. And I get that. I would be worried too.
Not worried about you and Alessandro, though. You guys get it.
Yeah, hopefully they'll just stick with us. The thing I relate this to a lot too is, have you ever read Black Sad?
Yes, I haven't read it, but I've heard of it, and I've got the video game.
I don't think I have played it neither.
Oh, well, get the books. That's what you need.
I have read the books before, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, they're all bande dessinée. They're all Juanjo Garnido is the artist. Juan Canales is the writer. I mean, they're mature. And at the time when I was watching Zootopia, I was like, wow, this is kind of like a all ages version of Black Sad a little bit.
It kind of is, now that you say that.
Yeah, it's like, I think you would really be interested in it. You should check it out. It's beautifully done.
Come to think of it, Mr. Monches looks a lot like him.
Oh yeah, Monches does look like him. In fact, that may have been another thing that was making a connection for me. And it's like they have to be doing an homage there, sort of. There's no way the Disney animators don't know about that book, because Garnido worked for Disney France.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Part of the reason he's so good at drawing animal people. Yeah, he did that for a long time. I'm blanking on her name. The woman artist who looks like Frank Frazetta. Her stuff is amazing. It'll come to me. It'll come to people when they're watching the show. I can't think of it right now. But
leave it in the comments if you know who he's talking about.
Yeah, and it's there are a lot of great artists who worked over in the Disney France studio. They're all doing whatever, probably working on bande dessinées and whatever they want to because they're geniuses. I forgot where I was going with that, but oh yeah, just the subject matter of Zootopia itself. It was already pretty mature for a Disney movie. Like they actually get into heavy stuff all through the thing. It's like they're really talking about bigotry and racism,
prejudice, and like government conspiracy and like drug plots, and yeah.
It's a drug story, really. And one of the things that I always like to point out is they actually did a version of the joke people would make for years, like, what if Disney animals met real animals in the wild?
Mhm.
And they did it. That's what happens in the movie. You see the civilized animals meet the feral animals, and I
Mhm.
just thought that was brilliant. What a great idea that was to
Mhm.
actually find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
remember at one point after it came out, it was like in the top 5 of IMDb's best crime thrillers.
Yeah, it's a good crime story. Oh yeah, another character I really always enjoy. You were talking about the mayor.
Yes, Bellwether.
Lionheart.
Or Lionheart, sorry. Bellwether came later.
Yeah, one of the few that kind of again also kind of makes a connection to Robin Hood,
Yeah, he's very similar to Richard
to
the
Richard at
Lionheart.
the end. Yeah,
Mhm.
except he's crooked, but I love the way that they do him, and J.K. Simmons does the voice because he's still very positive. He doesn't even seem to be bothered that much by being in prison. And I hope that they do the thing of having him get out and become mayor again, because like I just think that character is great.
I think that the mayor they're going with this time is a giraffe, but we'll see.
Yeah, we don't
I,
know.
I do think Lionheart will show up. I hope he does because he's just big fluff ball of charisma.
He
Yes,
is.
agreed.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
supposed to be the bad guy, but his successor is so much more evil than he is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, don't even get me started on the whole Bellwether conspiracy.
Uh, oh well. Well, earlier we were speaking about
Wow, we brushed right past that.
what was it? I
It's
forget.
a topic that I could go on about for hours, and we
Yes.
only have limited time.
Earlier I was talking about well, you mentioned homages and everything. How do you come up with the characters that appear on the comics? Like we had this zebra character. Like those
Yeah,
kind of characters.
Zabrando. Trip Zabrando. Yeah.
How do you come up with these characters for the comics?
I don't know. I was trying to think of a bombastic kind of CEO type character there. I don't know why zebras just worked all of a sudden. Because the interesting thing is now I know when you're doing one of these stories is you have to think really hard about the size and scale of everybody.
That is one of the things that sets Zootopia apart from other, like, anthropomorphic animal stories.
Exactly. They're not all the same size, just different kinds of animals. They're all in relation to each other. Say like Trunkabee or one of the other cops shows up, suddenly they're tiny,
Mm-hmm.
because uh, before the ZPD is just all these big brutes, rhinos and elephants and stuff like that. And that kind of thing's hard on the artist. That's hard on Alessandro because he's got to keep the scale going or whatever. And suddenly our characters can look like a little bunny
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and just kind of come off very tiny. And it's hard to like get that all together going. And I'm trying to think of a scene in the movie. I think it always impresses everybody when you first see the coming into Zootopia scene, and like you see the hippo or whatever come through, being doing the splash off and all that, and then you see all the little mammals popping out of the bottom of the train, uh, going off to their jobs and things like that, and the way they have it all working for all the systems, which is kind
Mm-hmm.
of a beautiful message, really, when you think about it. But boy, I can imagine all the designers and animators really had to put in late nights trying to figure out how that was going to work.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's got accommodations, and it's a city built by the mammals for the mammals.
Yeah, we go back to Little Rodentia almost, sort of, in one of the later stories, and
Ooh.
yeah, because it makes sense that it's like, oh yeah, well, if you're going to see some little guys,
Mm-hmm.
they're probably living there. They can live in the other things, but nobody can live in their space.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you see in the background of Zootopia, like, little apartments built into the columns of buildings, or little diners in the just above the gutters.
It only works the one way, and just like real life rodents, they have to be very good at not getting stepped on. But then, anyway, in one of the stories, uh, Bogo sends them to investigate some robberies that are going on at at this one tower, but it's by the park, which is where Little Rodentia is. So it's like he's like, I've got to see, and they're shocked because they're like, this actually sounds like a cool assignment. Why are you sending us on it? And and he explains like I can't send the rhino, like I can't. It's like if there's a chase and then suddenly you're aiming at Little Rodentia, like, well, at least Judy can make it through without hurting anybody, and she'll save somebody from a donut or something fun like that.
Yes.
Exactly. Though we do know now that there are a few more smaller mammals hired at the ZPD, but not necessarily in an officer role. At CinemaCon, they introduced Dr. Fuzzby, who's a quokka.
Oh, nice.
She's the therapist.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Clawhauser still has his role, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, it wouldn't take him away from the desk. All right, good.
Better not.
People would riot.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we only have to wonder how much will he be featured in this sequel, because that's something we still don't know.
Yeah. Well, he's at the front desk when you come into the station. He's got to be a big part of it. I hope.
If only just for another line like, the murder weapon.
Yes, something like that. That would be nice.
It's really fun to imitate Clawhauser.
Yeah, Nate Torrance does such a good job with him. Like, that was perfect casting.
That was excellent casting. Yax, obviously, he's good casting. I assume Yax will somehow show up again.
Hopefully he's wearing pants.
One hopes. Like, it's like the rules are different outside of that.
The Oasis, yeah.
Yeah, the Oasis. Okay, thank you. I wasn't getting the name.
Yep, Mystic Springs.
That's another thing. I always point that out as like, this was a brilliant thing about just embracing the concept instead of bending it to just like, oh, they're just animals in a human world. Like, by diving into it, they're just showing you normal animals, and Judy's reaction is the entire thing that's selling, how out of bounds it's supposed to be, because she's like covering her eyes and freaking out and everything, and Nick's just back there smiling and completely amused at her uncomfortableness. That's the thing of any good thing that like builds all the humor out of the characters themselves. It's like, it's so not a DreamWorks sort of thing where it's all about zingers and jokes, It's like they get in early, letting you know what these characters are like, and then they're just simply acting like themselves, and it's funny. That's just good writing to me.
Exactly. And I'm very glad to hear you say that, because as that's always a concern when there's like a new author like working on not a new author. I know you've been writing for ages, but like a different writer approaching the existing material.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, narratively speaking, it feels organic. It doesn't feel rushed or forced.
I know there's only so much you can do in like 12, 14 page stories, but still, you get so much done with that time in those issues.
Well, that's is 20, and that's
20.
our that's the whole thing. We have to be able to compress time and jump around and move a little faster, because we don't have the space like say like 20 minutes of movie to tell the story, which would then you'd get to do a lot of stuff. But yeah, whenever I'm taking on something like this, obviously this was like, Nate knew I was going to like it, and he probably was sure I was going to say yes, because I'm pretty sure we had made jokes about the movie before. And it's interesting too, by the way, if you ever do get in a conversation with my editor, Nate sounds exactly like Nick Wilde.
Really?
He does. He sounds just like Bateman. His delivery and everything. I was just kind of thinking, it's like, I think they picked this because of you, because they talked to you. but like whenever there's a I hate to say a property, but whenever there's a story or something like this, that I haven't done before, and people ask me about it, even if it's just a good job, I still make sure that like I have some kind of affinity for the material. Because if I don't think I can pull it off convincingly, I just simply won't take the job. Is because it's not fair. There's somebody else out there. Like you offered me a Sonic story to do, I'd say no. I have no, I have no feel for Sonic. I would completely get this wrong. I would be mad. Readers would be mad. It would all go terrible.
To be fair, the Sonic comics are absolutely insane. So, in a good way, but I'm like, that's a whole rabbit hole. Like, there's so much weirdness that happens in those comics.
It's everything about Sonic is weird, and that's this is more my wheelhouse. Like I like writing crime stories. I like writing humor, and I love the like. I grew up with the Carl Barks duck stories. I read tons of those reprints as a kid, and then as an adult, bought all the collections and everything, all the Scrooge McDuck stuff. And
Nice.
yeah, to me, that's what this all kind of ultimately grows from. It all feels like that sort of adventure and that sort of big world stuff is all there from the beginning. And even though Zootopia's got its own rules and everything, which I appreciate the way they stick to them, I still feel it still reminds me a little bit of it. But it's not DuckTales, and I get that.
Yeah,
and I don't write it the way I would write DuckTales.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course.
But the whole traveling the world sort of thing, that's the kind of stuff they do.
Mm-hmm.
And Zootopia, of course, does the brilliant concept of what if we just make this continent-sized city have all of this stuff in it?
Yeah.
So and
Exactly.
it's kind of weird. Like, how can the ZBD actually police that entire thing? It doesn't really. It's like, and they're precinct 1, so there's got to be other precincts.
And the other districts on the city, like Tundra Town, the Rainforest,
Canal District. And same thing in our stories. I don't bother to bring up who any of the other precincts are, who works for them. It's just about these two.
Exactly. And speaking of these two, a lot of people who get the impression that they might end up as more than just partners.
I was wondering what time in the show you were going to get to this. Like, I was like, okay, what time period are we at? Are we at 35 minutes, 40, or something like that?
We're actually pushing 45 at this point, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That was pretty good. Good job. Good on you for holding back so long.
Hey, I met the director once, and I made sure to ask him as well, so.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure everybody asked them as soon as they meet him.
Yes.
Oh, what'd the director say?
He said that he was very aware, but he wanted to make sure if it happened, it was done right.
Oh, that was a good evasive answer.
It is. It is very evasive, but like it was also back in 2017 when there was no like even thoughts of a sequel as far as we knew.
So, I have a feeling they were already thinking of a sequel.
I think I'm sure they were thinking of it, but he went and made Encanto first, so.
Yeah, and also they had to wait for Disney to greenlit the idea.
Right, and good on him getting Encanto together. And a friend of mine, former member of my studio, Natalie Nuragat, directed the short that came before Encanto. Wait, now I'm going to screw it up. Was it Far From the Shore? The one with the little raccoons.
Yeah. I know the one you're talking about. I can't remember
it's
the
all
name.
set. But... It's all set on the Oregon coast here, and
cool.
and Natalie did that, wrote it and directed it and everything, and it's like everybody was so proud of her. It was great, and
nice.
And now she's living in France, but she did do a short Red Sonja story with me for Dynamite a couple of years ago. If you ever see the red, white, and black collections that they did, where everyone did short stories, to make an Encanto digression. I wasn't avoiding the question.
No, very nice, evasive.
Yeah, I'm really good at it though. I'm just warning you that like I could easily do that, and you wouldn't realize until the show was over that I didn't answer it. But I'll tell you this: they just told me. I got the impression. This is my guess is they wish they had never put the love line in there.
The "you know you love me."
Yeah, exactly. Like I can even tell when I'm rewatching the movie, it's like they wish they hadn't done that, and because then it sets up a ton of expectations and sends everybody
Gets all the shippers going.
Their own rabbit warrens. I avoided the term rabbit hole. The or whatever right off the bat, and then they feel obliged or not obliged to address it.
Trust me, the fans take care of that plenty.
I know they were going to do it anyway,
Yeah.
but once you put the line in there, boom, then they go off on their whole extended Judy and Nick verse sort of thing. That I'm sure the director was hoping, please don't ask about this. They told us, just like, we just want this, no soap opera type stuff. We just want this to be, and I that's my words. I can't remember exactly what was said, but they just wanted it to be about their work and everything. And I was like, that's fine. I figured that's the way it would be.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I was like, I can still keep their character dynamic. It doesn't really depend on them being a couple.
That's true.
Yeah, and in fact, it's like when you do get into it, and I'm not poo-pooing the idea of them just being a real couple in the next movie, whether they are or not. But it's one of those things where you can skip ahead and miss doing a lot of the dynamics of them, just the simple fact that they rely on each other and their strengths and weaknesses, of him as a grifter from the streets type and her as this super resourceful country kid who comes to the city. Like there's still a lot there that needs to be worked through, I feel like, because there's lots of good jokes and lots of good I don't know, just playing off of each other with it.
Yeah, there's tons of material there to work with.
Yeah, and the danger of jumping to the romantic stuff is then it could become a soap opera. And like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to deride soap operas.
No, that's actually exactly what Byron Howard said he wanted to avoid. Like, he almost word for word, like, I don't want it to be like a soap opera where it's all about the getting together and then afterwards just it sucks. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but
no, I can imagine though that he said something that felt the same way, and it is it makes it all about you wondering about whether people are getting together and staying together and blah blah blah, and it does become soap opera centric, and at the heart of it, I feel like these are still supposed to be funny crime stories. Again, I'm sure that they regretted that love line in there as much as they could. But you can also take it as just, it doesn't have to be romantic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be platonically, but even if the line wasn't there, people were still going to ship them.
They were going to ship anyway. And that ship sailed.
Yep.
So,
I mean, we've seen what happens when Zootopia goes the full soap opera route.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
I do know.
You can say it. I've seen it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're aware of
the
that.
Comic.
You're aware of it. Oh, not interesting.
Oh, good.
Okay, here's my favorite part of it, which is so funny, is that they use the model for Seinfeld's apartment.
Yes.
It just kills me every time. Like, there's a bicycle back on the wall. Everything. I was like, wait, why'd they use Seinfeld's apartment? And then realized, like, oh, because that's one of the selections you would have when you're going through what's the program? Now I can't think of
One of the 3D SketchUp.
yeah, it's like one of the SketchUp 3D environments.
Ah, okay.
Here's a home one. And it's like, whoa, when does Kramer come bursting into the conversation? You know, when's this going to happen?
Well, I'm very glad that you guys are making Zootopia comics now, because for the longest time, when you searched Zootopia comic on Google, that's what would come up.
That's all you got.
Yes. That infamous.
It would come to our website, which had the whole thing in one place. So,
Oh man, what do you think the odds are that this entire project has happened just so that wouldn't be what people got to the first time they searched for a Zootopia comic?
Well, you have,
see, that's getting into like Disney Frozen conspiracy type thing.
and it took a long time too, because that comic exists for more than 5 years, I believe. Correct me, Andy. Yes, more like 5 years.
Yeah, it came out in 2017,
Kind of
I
like.
think. So,
Okay, yes.
Fans,
but the
they're
whole
the
idea
best.
of, oh yeah. You never know what's going to come out of the fandom, which
They're always
is,
going to take it too far. You
Oh, yeah.
gotta love it.
oh yeah, which is why I love it.
Yeah, and
Even if you sometimes get Judy being JFK'd, you never know what's going to happen.
Now I'm really ramped up for this movie. I can't, you've got me. Before I was like, yeah, I'll be ready when it comes out. Now I'm like, boy, I cannot wait till this movie comes out.
yeah,
know,
November 25, 26.
26th, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we
I thought it
have.
was sooner than that.
Nope. We have 218 days, 11 hours, 1 minute, and 35 seconds.
Wow.
hmm
Jeez. Oh, well, maybe they'll let us cram in some more comics then.
Hopefully,
here's hoping.
yes. Yeah, like we already had some previous comics, but they weren't that big compared to what Dynamite is doing right now. I
Yeah.
mean, officially.
Though they did interestingly also feature Nick and Judy investigating a dump. It was to teach kids about green technology and environmentalism and stuff, but it involved them going to a dump to stake out a case. So
Oh, now everybody's going to think I took that. I based that on that.
So you didn't. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting that it accidentally happened twice.
I just thought it would be funny. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the two characters that they meet at the dump are very different, so
Oh, okay. Our
Well, they are-
lovable skunk Chuck Flowers is not the character they meet. Okay.
yeah, no, it's I want to say I'm blanking on the name, but he's shoot, what is he? I don't even know. But
No, I don't know.
A big animal, a little animal.
no, he's medium sized. I think he's a Wolverine or something.
He's not a
Mhm.
raccoon, because they're usually associated with getting in garbage and stuff.
I think he had raccoon henchmen.
Okay.
Ah, here it is. Oh, no, it is a skunk. Mr. Skunkington and his henchmen.
Oh, you know what? I like our name better.
Yeah, yours. I like Mr. Flowers.
They're gonna really think we took that from there, but we didn't, because I never saw that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time Zootopia had them go to the dump and meet a skunk, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice.
I mean, well, yeah. Who's more comfortable at a dump? Come on. And
Exactly.
I was wanting to get a skunk in there just to, not to, because I wasn't going to have the gangster family in there. But if you notice in that issue, wait, it's the second issue, right?
Yeah, second issue.
Yes, second.
Okay, I'm forgetting which issue things are in.
Mhm.
The guy keeps looking at Nick. Haven't I seen you before? And if you're thinking of the movie, you know that Nick at some point did get a skunk's
Yeah.
code.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
are you suggesting that he was the skunk he made the skunk butt rug from?
That or someone he knows, so
Yeah, because we don't know from what time he gave that to Mr. Big.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we don't.
yeah, so that was the reference. I was trying to make a connection there, but I wasn't spelling it out completely. And Nick keeps kind of ducking, to not
I
get
was
him a
just
good.
thinking it was because, like, Nick did a ton of business with a bunch of people that he wasn't necessarily proud of. But that makes it even worse. That makes it even better.
Yeah, that's always going to be the case. But yeah, that one I thought, well, this could be a little bit slight. I didn't want to. Sometimes when you connect everything, it takes the life out of something. So I didn't want to do that, but I did want to insinuate that this might be where he got the skunk butt hair from.
And I mean, to be fair, to make a whole rug out of it, that's quite a bit of hair.
Yeah, I guess they brush it out. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of weird. By the way, we are having a lot of skunks around Portland now.
Really?
oh.
Yeah, and it's not like a thing where weed's legal here, so that's what you're actually smelling. Like it's like all around in the woods and the trails and stuff. Skunks have been turning up, and I don't know why there's so many, but like people are seeing them all the time nowadays. I haven't run into one. I've seen a lot of bunnies. There's a lot of rabbits around town. It was just Easter, but I see them constantly. My dog looks at them, that sort of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, around here we get a lot of turkeys just wandering the streets.
Wait, what south of the border, what animals are you seeing down there?
We have alligators and raccoons.
Yes.
All right. Well, I do know you said you were a bit short on time, so
Yeah, I've got to run back to the studio and work, eat something, and then go back to work for a little
got
bit.
it.
all right.
I feel like we still got a good sized show out of this, though.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
for sure,
of
for sure.
course.
Thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for
you.
coming on and for taking the time to speak with us. This was really fun and entertaining and informative as well. Thank you so much.
Well, I feel like it's been mostly informative for me. Like it's you two telling me what's going on and me going what? But that's fine. Sometimes these
like-
shows can be just for the guest, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you again so much for coming on and for being the guest.
Yes,
We really
nice
appreciate
talking
it.
to you.
Okay, when you do your expose conspiracy episode,
I will be sure to forward it to you.
please alert me because I can't wait to see that.
Perhaps
All
it will be
right.
for next episode, maybe? I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see.
Make it a Patreon extra or something. I don't know. Thank you both so much for having me on. This was super fun.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun for us as well. So, till next time, remember, thank you for that last minute shout out of the Patreon, patreon.com/ZNN, for supporting the website, supporting this podcast, everything to do with it. It's all not for profit and it's basically just to pay hosting costs. So whatever you can contribute is greatly appreciated.
Yes, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, subscribe on our Spotify. And also, we'd love to read your comments about this episode with this nice interview with Jeff Parker.
Yep. And before you go, any final thoughts, Jeff?
Let's see. Thank you to the readers for being patient with us. I am loving positive response. Really appreciate it. And I think you'll be pleased with the turn this story takes. Like I said, they all work. You could hand anybody a single issue out of order and it'll work. But when you read the first 6 all together, you'll realize it's all been part of a big scheme. Because it's Judy and Nick, and that's the way it's going to go. So Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. And if you're on Blue Sky, I'm Jeff Parker on there. And if you want to check out my website, which I really, really need to update, it's just jeffparkerwrites.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Really, thank you.
And hey, maybe after it's all wrapped up and we can talk about the story in its entirety, maybe we can have you back on.
Okay, that'll be cool.
That'd be fun.
All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you again. And until next time, I'm Andy Lagopus.
And I'm PinkStar.
This has been It's Called a Podcast, Sweetheart. Boom.